Since earning my private pilot certificate, the biggest difference by far is the difference between being in training where you have a safety net and an instructor and having your own certificate where you have to make decisions for yourself. So in this video, we are going to go over some of the few things that I have been doing and that you can do as well to be the safest pilot possible. That video is coming up right now. Hello everybody and welcome back to today's video. If you are new here, my name is Luke and I'm a 17-year-old private pilot in upstate New York documenting my journey from student all the way to professional pilot. It's my job to show you the good and bad side of my journey to a professional cockpit, and I'm excited to be here with you today. So this has by far been one of the things that I have had to get used to. As a private pilot now, I've done about 10 to 15 hours since I got my certificate alone, and it has been different because I haven't had somebody to text and say, hey, what do you think? Hey, I don't know about this. What do you think about that? The winds may do this, they may do that. It's up to me now. So it's been pretty strange, a little bit stressful, but also eye-opening to see how your decisions directly impact the safety of your flight. There have been a couple times where I have thought the weather was going to be great, so I went up to the airport, I got in the airplane, I got it all ready, and I started up and my elevator, my yoke is getting hit back and forth, it's gusty. I turn on the ATIS and the METAR on ForeFlight is telling me it's gusting to 15 knots down the runway, but the ATIS says it's gusting to 20 plus knots, and I have a 10 knot crosswind. So there are so many things that you have to decide. And another one of these examples is cross-country flying. I've done a couple cross-countries alone now as a private pilot without any previous planning with an instructor, and by far that's been one of the things that has been strange getting used to. I made this mistake, and I have to share it because, you know, I look back at it and learn from it, and I'm sure I'll make many more mistakes. But I was flying from Binghamton, Bravo Golf Mike, to Scranton Wilkes-Barre International Airport, Alpha Victor Papa. And it's about a 53 nautical mile flight. And, you know, I looked over my route, I looked at frequencies, I had all of my cross-country planning complete. But one thing that I failed to look at was the ATIS frequency. So I took off out of Binghamton, and, you know, I got into cruise, and then I said, okay, you know, I'll start getting some frequencies in, start, you know, getting ahead in the cockpit. And when I saw the ATIS frequency, it was 111.6. Now, my radios, COM1 in my airplane that I fly, can't go to 111.6. So what do? I was kind of freaking out for a second because I was like, that doesn't make sense. So I ended up texting my instructor, and I knew that you had to listen over the VOR, so I did that, and I didn't hear anything. I did about 15 miles, I waited till I was about 10 miles out, and I still didn't hear anything. And at that point, I knew that I knew what to do. You know, you have to listen to it over the nav radio, but it wasn't working. So I let the controller know that I was unable to pick up the ATIS. They read it to me, and we went on our way. And when I got back, it was funny because the instructor at my flight school actually told me that that has been in-op and that the nav radio hasn't been working the last couple of flights. So that's kind of funny, and it just goes to show that you're always learning, and, you know, I am trying to approach every single flight I go on as a learning experience and trying to make sure I do as thorough a job as possible to keep myself and the people I take with me safe. One thing that has been stressful to me as a private pilot is my peers or the people who have mentored me looking at my decisions and maybe thinking that I'm making a decision based off of my attitude. You know, you may, if you decide to fly when it's maybe a little bit gusty, or you think that it's fine, it's right down the runway, you're comfortable, you've been in the airplane a lot, but somebody else may not think the same thing for you. And you know, I personally, and I'm sure all of you, don't want people to think you're cocky because, of course, that's, you know, not a good look as a newly minted private pilot who's only got 100 hours. So that's just something that again, I've been getting used to, and it's another thing that's a big difference from transitioning the student to private pilot. So my takeaway from this is you don't know until you experience it. There's really nothing that you can do as a student pilot to experience this new era in your flight training where you're able to make decisions on your own, and you don't need the approval and don't have the support of CFIs looking at everything you do every step of the way and making sure that you're being safe. It's up to you, and that really just comes with time, which really only comes with experience, which happens over a long period of time. So with that being said, I'm flying tomorrow morning. I don't know if I'll go. The winds are supposed to be 11 to 15 knots right down the runway, but it's going to be the coldest day of the year, and, you know, maybe we wake up and there's 3 inches of snow on the ground, so in that case, I won't be going. But if you want to see maybe a few clips from that flight, make sure to go follow my Instagram. It's down in the bio to get day-to-day updates on my flying adventures. And until next week, I want you to stay current, stay proficient, and keep the blue side up. If you're in the Northeast, stay warm, and we will see you on next week's video. Take care.